Hi, Courtney.
Hi, Jenny.
Welcome to the Magic Hour. I'm so excited you're here.
Me too.
This feels like it's been a long time in the making. Just a little like background. Courtney has an office at Magic Manos headquarters, and I worked really hard to get Courtney.
You made me believe in myself, Jenny.
I really worked very hard. I think you were working from home or like you had a different office set up.
Well, there was one office that I would go to for, sessions that needed to be in person. But yeah, I was working out of my home.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And I really felt strongly that I wanted to have therapists part of this like wellness collective, right? It's like you can get a facial, you can get a massage, and then like talk it out, right? And so I had always wanted Courtney to be there. So when she agreed, which has almost been a year now, which is crazy.
In October.
Yeah. It felt like a real like full circle moment. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and like the scope of like your practice and kind of what you focus on.
Okay. I'm like flashing and remembering like getting my first facial with you when I was like super pregnant. And
That's
we were
right.
Yeah, we like dove straight in. We like dove in head first, and we're like
pregnant.
We're friends now.
Yeah. It was like instant.
It was instant.
Yeah. It was like and I forgot that you were pregnant.
Yeah, I was pregnant. Yeah.
That's wild to think about how long ago. And now she's
3.5 almost. Yeah. So it was like 4 years ago, probably.
That's crazy.
It really is. It really is. Well, so I started my career working as a yoga teacher. I really named that as my first job. I also was interning for an eating disorder dietitian. That was something that I thought I wanted to pursue. And that eating disorder dietitian, Jessica Setnick is her name. She's like one of the most important mentors I've ever had in my life. Like she was so vibrant and phenomenal. I feel really lucky that I got to experience working for somebody like that in my early 20s. But ultimately decided the clinical world wasn't what I wanted to pursue. So I decided to get a master's in holistic nutrition, and I just kind of like danced in that world for 15 years.
In the nutrition world.
Yoga and nutrition.
Nutrition.
I mean, I want to say wellness space, but that feels kind of like a loaded,
that's
a loaded phrase these days. So, but yeah. And I moved here. I moved to San Antonio in 2014, which when you're an entrepreneur, just like bouncing around teaching classes all over the place, clients all over the place, like I had to start from scratch.
Yeah.
And I mean, I worked for Whole Foods. I worked for another yoga studio and then ultimately opened my yoga studio with Debbie Anderson.
Which was a very special place.
It was a really special place. That was like one of the most magical times in my life. Like I just was so like living.
Was this pre-kids?
This was pre-kids.
Pre-kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was kind of like your first baby.
Yeah. Other than my little chihuahua, but yes. It was. Yeah. It was my
where
first
you have
baby.
This vision and then you birth it and create it.
Totally.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I was teaching yoga in recovery centers. And
like addiction or eating disorder.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I guess that all falls under the same umbrella.
Yeah. I mean, I was attempting to try and go teach over at the Eating Recovery Center over in the Quarry, but was teaching at Alpha Home, San Antonio Recovery Center, and then I had another teacher who was also teaching in different places. And I mean, the clientele that we were drawing into our space, like it was a healing center, It was a yoga studio, but it was a healing center.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it wasn't everyone's cup of tea, because that's like confronting. Can be.
Yeah, we should definitely dive further into how confronting healing can be. Yeah, in those spaces. Yeah,
but there was just this striking moment for me that I was like, okay, if I'm going to continue drawing this, like coming towards this work, like I have to go back to school. And
Smart. Yeah. And have more of like the tools to actually work in this space, which is really wise of you. Cause I think a lot of people are like, well, what do I need actual training for? I'll just be, which I think is how you get into tricky power dynamics. And,
totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Well, and then this idea of like, what does trauma informed mean? Like, you know, school was like really important for helping me really feel into what that means, really feel into like what personal bias is, which I think is an important part. I mean, obviously now I work as a therapist, I'm a counselor, an integrative counselor. But you know, those aren't easy things to sit with. And unless you have somebody being like, you need to sit with these things, yeah, I mean, it's not an easy thing to do.
Well, it's also too, a lot of times in the yoga and like, you know, you and I have like traveled very different paths, but like kind of the same, you know, that was like my first thing was doing a yoga teacher training. And I think I've met so many people along the way that, and we'll get into this a little bit later, that are healers, right? And it's like they actually have no fucking idea what they're doing. Yeah. They're causing more harm than good. You know, and it's like that kind of thing where they're like, well, just fake it till you make it, but you actually can cause a lot of damage. And so I think that that's something I'm really careful in my work because it does kind of feel like therapy sometimes. And I am not a trained therapist, right? But I think that's like very smart that you knew that you needed to go get this education. So we get our education and then we start seeing.
Well, so then I was like fully thinking that I was going to go get this master's degree and that I would like blend that into what I was already doing. But then the pandemic hit and I found out I was pregnant. And I mean, like talk about like... I mean, I really look back on that period of my life and I mean, I don't know if you agree with this, but like becoming a parent required a part of me
die.
Here come the tears. They're coming. But like truly, part of me had to die in order to become the mother that I am.
Yeah.
And I it's like silly to think that I really thought, oh, I can run this yoga studio. I can be a clinician and start a family. Like, what did I think?
I got this. Yeah. I think it's, you know, and I a lot of times start seeing clients when they're engaged and they want to get their skin ready for their wedding or, and then I get to see them get married and then I see them pregnant and then I see what happens in motherhood. And so I try to have these really frank conversations that I think no one had with me and maybe no one had with you. But it's like your whole shit is about to get rocked. Yeah. And I think it's just something we don't talk enough about. It's like get the right bassinet and get the right bottles. But it's like that is not even remotely what prepares you for motherhood. No. And I don't know that if somebody had told you, like, you can't run all of this, if you would have known or listened, right?
I do think, I was working with this woman who specialized in Ayurvedic postpartum care. And I remember one of the exercises she had me do was she was like, write down everything you do in a day and like how much time it requires. And she was like, when you are taking care of a child, like she was like, that gets cut into like 8 pieces. Like what are your priorities? And I can look back on that now and be so grateful.
Yeah. That's a gift.
See the realness in it. But in the moment I was like, you just don't know. You just don't know.
You're in it. Yeah. It's like with most things in life, you can't really understand unless you've been through it, you know? And so it's hard to have empathy, right? When you haven't really experienced it. Totally. Which is a whole nother can of worms.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And so your yoga practice studio ended up closing during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And then you finished school?
And then I finished school. So I was in the like clinical part of my degree at that point. Like I was working, I was an intern at that point, and like actually offering counseling services as a student, which was wild because everything went online. And I was working with youth. I was working for a place called Connections, and we were working with kids. We got cases that the school counselors couldn't carry.
Okay.
And like those kids really need to be in person with their therapist.
Not online.
Yeah, but that was what had to happen. Talk about being thrown into the fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you're just like counseling these children on Zoom.
In my bedroom, like literally in my bedroom while somebody is watching my little baby in the other room.
Wow. So that was intense. Yeah. So then you get the degree and the school closes and then you just start seeing clients at home.
Yeah, well, so I started working for a woman named Joanna Trevino. She was my supervisor. So I was working for her practice. And then she supported me in starting my own practice. And that was like, I guess, a 3.5 year journey I had with her.
Okay.
You have this part of, so after you finish grad school, you have to do an associateship, which is kind of like a counselor's residency.
Okay.
Where you're being overseen by somebody, like a state approved supervisor.
So do you like talk about your cases with
Yeah.
it? Okay. And
Yeah.
so they like will give you like feedback or like this is it. Okay.
I mean, and like school's important, but like
That is yeah.
And it's because then there are like other associates that you're in supervision with, and so there's just a lot, like you're learning from each other, you're learning with your toes to the fire,
right?
And
which is the only way I really learn. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember in esthetician school, it was like, we did like maybe a month or two of like book work and like classroom stuff. And then it was just like, okay, now you're on the floor seeing people.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's how I learn best anyway, right? So now your practice, how would you like describe like your practice now? Because you do some like pretty fun, wild, out there shit now.
Yeah. This is so hard for me to like encapsulate what I do. I mean, I'm a therapist. I call myself an integrative therapist counselor.
Okay. What's the integrative part to you?
Well, because I had like, I'm going to say 15 years of experience working in the, like I would say in the intuitive arts.
Okay.
I weave that into my counseling practice. And so somebody who wants to work with me is not necessarily coming to me because they want CBT or DBT. They're like, there's something more effervescent.
What's DBT? Because CBT is cognitive behavioral therapy. And what's DBT?
DBT is actually I really do like DBT. Not that I don't like CBT. It's just not, it's too structured. DBT,
and that's when people just talk.
Yeah,
CBT.
yeah. And
Okay.
I feel like there's like more homework involved. There's like more protocol. There's like structure.
Okay.
And, that has appropriate uses in specific situations. I'm not DBT or CBT trained, we just like have to learn about it when we're in school. But, my approach is much more, I'm going to say person-centered, client-centered, and it's more about like the relationship. I honestly really feel like what I do is I attune to people and I create a safe bubble for them where they can actually unravel like their own self in front of another person and be witnessed. I actually, one of my current teachers, one of my current mentors, my astrology teacher, Britton LaRue, she says all the time that she feels like from her vantage point that what our society is like really lacking is attunement.
And your definition of attunement would be like just allowing yourself to kind of like sit with someone and get on their frequency? Or what would your like actual definition? Because that's what I think of attunement is, but maybe you have like a different perspective.
Yeah, no, I think it's that. But then I also think like the places that we get stuck emotionally. I'm going to like speak in broad strokes here,
Sure.
right? This like can be more nuanced when we're like actually talking about like what an individual is presenting with. But a lot of times, often when somebody is feeling stuck, there's something in them that they feel fearful or sticky or resistant to turn towards.
Like shameful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I feel like my job is to support them in turning towards that and allowing for the wholeness of who they are to be in the room and to be witnessed.
How do you think, so that kind of gets into, because you and I are very similar in that intuition guides a lot of our practice.
Yeah.
So when you are sitting with someone, maybe like it's the first time they're coming to see you, are you immediately like attuned, intuitive, like you're in a flow state and you can kind of already see the stickiness?
So I am a very porous person, and it's going to be so funny if any of my clients listen to this because they're like,
I'm
you
sure they will.
too? Yeah, no,
Yeah.
we use this word a lot. I use that word a lot. I am a very porous person. So much of my path of learning how to create sustainability for myself around this work has been about like recognizing the ways that I can feel other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that like being able to feel other people's energy and just kind of like see them and know them in a way that's not like I'm using a different part of my body. I'm not using like my physical body. There's like this very energetic exchange that's happening, has been part of my life always.
Right.
Which is a scary thing to exist with when you're young because you can't really, like, you don't know what's going on. You don't know, am I feeling something that's mine or something that somebody else's? Like, that language is hard for a child.
For sure. And so do you think porous and empath are interchangeable?
That's a good question. Yeah, I don't know that I would say that they're interchangeable, but I do think that they are describing
The same
thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that that's hard. I mean, even in my 20s, I didn't understand what that feeling was. I was living in New York, you know, taking on a bunch of energy, like, and just, you know, and instead of like knowing how to kind of like tune it and that's probably where you found yoga, and that's where I for the first time learned, oh, you can really get around this, right? Was through like yoga and meditation for me, and that's probably the first time, and it was like a light bulb went off. I was like, oh,
yeah,
this is something you can be malleable with,
Yeah.
and something I think that everyone has. I think some people think that they're more empathic than others, but I think we're all energetic beings, you know?
Yes.
And it's not that I have this like special gift.
No.
It's just, right? And the same with you.
Right.
And it's just like we're just more tuned in.
The way that I think about it, and I think this isn't like my idea. This is, you know, part of like a larger conversation that I have with other people, and I have this with my clients too. You know, there are just like some people who are born with these skills of like feeling into other people, like they're that exists on a higher level, or not a higher level, but it's more felt, it's more in their face, right?
It's almost like they feel it physically.
Yeah. Like some people are just like born with that skill set, but I do believe it is a birthright for all of us. And I feel like you just said this. it's not a special skill. Honestly, there are certain parts of this experience that made part of like my adolescence like traumatic,
Brutal. Yeah,
you know,
brutal.
because that's not until you can name it and understand it and hold it and find people who are willing to talk with you about this unprovable thing, like you can feel crazy.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I think even now, I think some people, it's hard because I think I can walk into a room and I'm like, zzz, zzz, you know, and people are like, oh, well, she's, you know, you're not right about that, or, you know,
Yeah.
and like it takes people some time to like maybe catch up, right?
Yeah.
But I think especially when you're younger, it's really challenging because no one's talking about that stuff. I mean, that's what's cool about this generation now. It's like they're talking about all of it, you know?
Yeah.
So also in your practice, you use ketamine, right? How have you felt like that's the most helpful? Like, do you just see these like wild transformations, or is it more subtle? Does this make people more connected to their intuition? Are they more in their body? Like, I know that's a lot of questions at once.
Yeah, you know, I think kind of like tethered to what we were just talking about, and I think that like the experience of understanding who am I, what is mine, versus what is other people's is a very, like, it sounds simple, but this is the work, you know? Especially when you have children, you have family members that are around you all the time, like to really, really figure out, where am I? Where are you?
Yeah.
You know, that's what I support people in navigating. And the thing that I feel is so profound about psychedelic work, I mean, it's twofold. When somebody is dealing with depression or anxiety, where their locus of control is so far outside of them that answering this question or even considering what is mine versus what is someone else's,
They can't even.
it's it's too much of a blur. And I think that psychedelic work, it opens us. It opens us to this different state of consciousness. And there's just like so much to receive in that space, you know, like understanding, like in the most beautiful way, like how small we really are and how precious this life really is.
Yeah.
Like how profound. So I would say that, like, I mean, this makes me so emotional to like really sit with the truth that I get to be invited in to be the person that gets to sit for people in this space.
Yeah.
Because it is so simple.
Yeah.
It is so simple, but it is so profound.
Yeah. And when you see that happen, like, because I think we've talked about it before, the ketamine lasts for like 12.
I mean, the sessions are 3 hours, but that includes the like building of the nest, taking the medicine, and then coming down.
Yeah.
So it's relatively short compared to other psychedelics.
Right. And then when you see kind of this, do you physically like see the kind of like light bulb click on?
Well,
Or is it a slower integration, or it really just sometimes is like,
that's a good question.
They get it?
Yeah, I mean, it depends. But I think that, so sitting for someone in that space is very serene. It's like watching somebody take a nap for like an hour, and then they sit up and they are like, let me tell you about the most vivid dream. And they're still kind of in it, you know? It's, oh, Jenny, it's so magical.
Beautiful. Yeah.
And like that experience is so potent and important, but then the way that it changes the nervous system, there's what we call a golden window. So for 2 weeks following the session, your nervous system is very plastic. So the ability to kind of just like zoom out and not feel the weight of, you know, what led you to pursue that work. Like, let's name it like anxiety, depression, stress, like that sort of gets lifted. And, I mean, I think the most simple way that I can describe this is when I started working with ketamine, when I started working with psychedelics, I was walking my dog on a Monday, and Monday is like, this is my anxiety walk. I'm like, what are all the things I have to do? What do my kids need? Like, what groceries do we need? You know, it's just like the to-do list. And I got home after this like hour-long walk with my dog, and I was like, holy shit. Like, I did not participate in that thought form. Like, I wasn't in that cyclone. I was literally,
just,
I mean,
like,
this is so
vibing,
cliche, just like smelling the fucking roses. Like, I just was like in the present moment. And I'm so grateful that I had, you know, that I came to this, you know, when I did, because yoga and breath work, you know, you're being led to a very similar place. And I feel like I have such reverence for medicine, sitting in medicine, because it's not just like this thing that I take and it takes me there. Like, I've also worked really hard in yoga and in breath work to get to that space. Right.
That's the way, because I've never done ketamine. But that was the first time, you know, I had like done some like hatha yoga in college, like, you know, just like this coffee shop. But I had a friend take me when I was living in New York. Her name's Brett, and she took me to this. She was, I think, already trained or had been doing Kundalini for a long time. And she was like, just come to this class with me. And I remember everyone was wearing white. And they had these turbans on, and I'm like, what in the actual fuck is going on in here, right? It was like this 6th floor walk up. It was just like, huh? Like, I thought we were just like going to yoga and then we were going to go out afterwards, you know? And I still vividly, and this was probably 20 something years ago, remember what that felt like during that class. And we were doing all kinds of wacky shit. Like, they do this thing called elephant walk in Kundalini, where you like grab your ankles and walk around like a, I mean, the Kundalini Kriyas are wild, and they're designed, right, to really get you super, you're moving that energy up, like with lots of breath work, lots of chanting, right? But I remember sitting there, like, after the class was over and you sit in the meditation, and I was like, it was the first time I felt like high. I was like high off my own supply. Yeah. And I was like, what is this? I want to feel like this forever. Like, this is life-changing. This technology is like so brilliant. And, you know, I think Kundalini is kind of controversial. Like most yoga, when it gets,
are we going there?
I was like, when it gets to America, but it's not even when it gets to America. I mean, it is in India too. I mean, there is something problematic about, and maybe it's just men and women or humankind or whatever, but it is hard because, you know, it's like you tell people that I'm trained in Kundalini, and I had such a beautiful experience. I had a great teacher in New York. Her name was Hedy Carr. She's written many beautiful books, but, you know, I mean, there's a lot of drama. That documentary that came out last year and with Kundalini, and you know, Golden Bridge was in LA, and that had some problematic ties. Yogi Bhajan
I had no idea about all of that scandal until I saw that documentary.
Yeah. And it's like, I think all yoga.
Right.
And I think maybe, you know, you can speak to this too. It's like it's so beautiful and can be such a pure experience, but then it also is like humans pervert it and do wild stuff with it because it is such a powerful technology, right? And I think, you know, this goes back to your intuition and your discernment. It's like, I saw a lot of people in my teacher training that just, swallowed the Kool-Aid. They were, I'm going to go to India. I'm going to do all this stuff. And it's like, okay, well, is this like really resonating with you? Like, or is this just like another thing you're kind of like addicted to, right? And trying to get outside of yourself again, right? So I think you have some experience with.
Yeah, gosh. You know, it's so interesting. I was just watching this video this morning about like what is the difference between a community leader versus a cult leader. And this person, I mean, they really showed in this video like it was like circles. And when they're talking about a community, it's like these little dots where you can move to the fringe and not be a part of the community for a little while and then come back in. And maybe you can serve as one of the leaders, and it's
kind of
collaborative.
ebbs and flows.
Right. Like there's no expectation. We're just like living life. And there's something about this group of people coming together that actually supports
the community
and the like idea of other people living
their
life. Right. Like that's like the center focus. Where a cult, it's like these are closed circles. These are closed circles, and you have to follow rules to get to that leader in the center. And, you know.
Which is interesting that you just said that, because a lot of yoga is very dogmatic.
Yep.
And there are a lot of rules. So it's like, where is that intersection between like, oh, this could turn into a cult quick, or... You know?
Yeah.
That's a tricky intersection.
Yeah, it is. And, you know, I'm not going to sit here and claim to be some, like, scholar with Indian philosophy, but, like, studying Indian philosophy is something that, like, really intrigued me. You know, like the Hatha Yoga Pradipika. I remember reading that book, or part of it. I did not read the whole thing, but part of it, the place I traveled to in India, that was a part of the program. Like you studied that text, or a portion of it at least. And, you know, they're showing you in this very old book, these different meditative postures. I can't remember what the number of postures is in that book, but it's like a small amount. It's like 30 or something like that. And, you know, some people will take that and they'll be like, see, like asana isn't important. Like the postures aren't important because in this book, there's only a couple of them.
There's only like 30. Yeah.
But when you're really like reading or studying that text, there's, the author is like, you know, this is the benefit of this meditative posture. And let's just go ahead and assume we all know what like meditation means, right? Like this is the goal, right? How you get your body to that place where you can be in that meditative posture is between you and your teacher, right? And that there's so much, I think there's so much to that, right? Because it's like, wow, if you think about it that way, doesn't this feel like a really potentially personalized way of supporting a person in like what they need to access meditation? But yeah, then it's just like power. People want power. And that, like, when does that become, where is the line when that is no longer?
What do you think that is? Like, why do you think humans like want power so much?
Well, you're asking me this question in like a very specific moment. I just discovered that this teacher that I practiced with for a long time was abusing his power, and he was abusing women. And so I don't know that I can answer this question like unemotionally right now because
and you just found out this out during eclipse season.
Season.
Where it's like everything is fucking chaos.
Everything is so intense right now.
But it's like the truth. I mean, this is the tricky part about eclipses, right? Is like they bring the things to the light that have been in the darkness.
Yeah, and this is my nodal return as well. I was born with North Node in Pisces and South Node in Virgo. And so this is like a rebirthing moment for me.
So when the energy is high, you're finding out all this stuff, and this is someone that you've had like a close connection to. I was thinking about this when you were talking. I really appreciate when I always talk to you that you always have mentors. And I'm actually like really, I don't know that jealous is the word, but like I think that that's something really cool. You know, it's like I'm doing something that not a lot of people that I know like are following this path, and I'm kind of creating this thing that there is no roadmap. And I wish a lot of times I had someone to kind of like you know, it's a lot of just like using my own discernment and intuition to kind of like guide me. But I think it's really beautiful. You know, you have Debbie, you have this astrology mentor. Like, I think that that is a really important part of like being a space holder for people is finding mentors. I wish that you had like a class on how to find a mentor.
I'm like, well, I have lists of people that I think are really wonderful.
Yeah. And then it's like, do they know that you're like have this mentor relationship with them, or is it more informal, or like do you have them on like a pedestal?
That's interesting. You know, I think that part of my attraction to Ashtanga yoga, which I still, you know, I'm not so sure that I'm like throwing that out. Like there's a lot of beauty in that practice.
Yeah.
If there's someone who is respectful and honoring the student teacher dynamic, like so much beauty can happen there. But I think that I was like attracted to the idea that there was somebody who, like letting somebody kind of like hold power over me. I'm trying to like find another way to say that, but that's just how it's going to come out. And yeah, I really feel like my late 20s, early 30s, and this is really probably like the part of me that died when I became a mother. It was like, oh, I am not handing my power over to anyone
else. Yeah.
Like I have to find people who are willing to exist in space with me, like without that power dynamic. Now, the power dynamic is inherently there in certain situations, like with my doctor. Like there's a power dynamic. She's my doctor, but like my doctor's so wonderful. Like she's not going to speak to me with that power dynamic. She holds me as a
like almost like a partner in this container.
Yeah, it's collaborative.
She doesn't see it
co-creative.
as like do you think that this is just really out there, but do you think that people that pervert power like that are even aware of it? Or do you think that in their brains they have justified what they're doing? Because I think sometimes when you watch, like, even with Yogi Bhajan, it was like, well, this is my divine right to have all these women and all these riches. And like, I think sometimes they get so high off their own supply that they don't even realize what they're doing is actually, it's almost like they dissociate in a way, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's such an interesting question. I mean, I think, it's like then we're kind of looking at, well, are they actually practicing what they're saying they're practicing anymore?
No. I think the answer would be no, but But I think that they're so high off their own supply and like have manipulated it in such a way that they're not even conscious of it. You know, I'm not absolving them.
No, but I mean, gosh, I don't know that we want to go there, but I think that we could place this on top of what we see happening in extreme Christianity right now. You know, like that versus like what did Jesus actually teach?
Right.
Who did Jesus actually
talk to?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's like, okay, well, let's put that to the side because nobody really wants to look at that, right? Because it's like, I think sometimes people just like can gas themselves up so much. And I think that's why therapy for me is so important, is like, I think it's easy to get in your own head. And like, I think the sign of a good therapist is being like, whoa, right? Like, and so a lot of times it's like, that's why you see people that are like, they don't want to go to therapy because it's like, they don't want the accountability.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it's that, like we're reflecting. A therapist, like, yes, like I have all this training and these skills and blah, blah, blah. But like, I think that a skilled therapist, a good space holder is somebody who, I think this comes back to like the original question of like, what is attunement? It's like, what does this person need reflected back to them? And how can I be very gentle, but also confronting?
I think that's like your sneaky superpower. I think because you're like so beautiful and shiny, and then you're like, oh, wapa.
But
you're really like an Aries princess, and so you're like, ha ta ta. Like it's like a ninja. So I think that's like, it's just such a different experience because the very few times I see you, like between clients, I'll show you like a funny video, and then we just like laugh, which is one of the things that I was going to ask you, like, how do you juggle? You know, I have my own like weirdo tips and tricks, but how do you juggle being a container? Like, how do you release a lot of this energy at the end of your day?
Yeah.
Like, okay.
I am somebody who I can just like sit down in a hole with someone, and it's sometimes, I think also with the state of the world, like very hard to like fully shake that all the way off. But like, I like love to dance. I love to dance. I love to like go out with friends and go dancing. I love to turn music on in my house and dance with my kids. And I'm not a dancer. I'm more of a flailer.
Same.
And
one time I was out with my ex-boyfriend and he was like, it looks like you're trying to like karate chop the air. I was just like,
you're like, this
is like, you look like you're in like a fight scene in your mind. I'm like, well, this is my vibe. Like,
shaking it off, baby.
Yeah. I mean, I think that especially as like two white women that probably have like not a lot of rhythm and stuff, it's like, I just want to move and feel good, right? And like, why are you judging me?
I'm not dancing for someone else. I'm dancing for myself.
For me. Yeah. Especially in my 40s. I don't give a fuck if you like my dance moves. No. Yeah. So dancing is hugely, there's a Instagram lady I follow. Her name's the Workout Witch.
Ooh.
So she talks about all the trauma, and I talk about this a lot in my work, that's stuck in our hips and our jaw, right? Emotional junk drawers of the body, and like how healing it can be for women to actually learn how to twerk. Yeah. Right. And like that is actually releasing. And when you look at all these like indigenous tribes and cultures and from the beginning of time, it's like dance and movement is like a part of like the ritual and community. Yeah. And even when I think it's such a powerful, like when I get to work in the morning and no one's there yet, I mean, I have on Wu-Tang and I'm just like throwing that ass in a circle, you know, like. So,
well, you know what? So this, I think, is like, I love that we're talking about this because I think that, people have this idea of like spiritual people that we are just
love
like
and light
zen all the time. I'm like, and if somebody says love and light to me, I'm like,
fuck off.
I can't. It's like, no, thank you. Yeah. That's like, yeah.
Well, I think it's interesting too because when I go out and I'm like moving in the world, people are like, "Oh, you're like not as like soft and fluffy." I'm like, I'm actually not. Like I am very like vocal and outspoken, and I temper that in my daily work. Like, people don't want to wake up from this facial coma and be like, "Yo," so it's like you have to again. Yeah. You're using that intuition and discernment, but it's like when I'm in social situations, and I've been dealing with this a lot, and I don't know if you deal with this a lot in your work, but it's like the good girl archetype. Do you see her a lot? Like, it's the woman that's like following all the rules.
Yeah.
I did all the right things.
Yeah.
Why aren't I happy? Why are you acting like this? You shouldn't be like that. I feel like because I am a bigger personality and I am a lot. I bump up against that archetype a lot. It's like the person that shushes you or like, you know, so do you see that a lot in like your work? I think that the good girl archetype is like the downfall for women.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's wrapped in people pleasing.
Yeah. I was literally just about to say that. I think this is like one of like when I'm talking about like attuning to a person and there being enough like trust in our relationship that I can call that forward and we can sit with the energy of, because I would call it somebody trying to be a good client, which like there's no such thing as a good client.
Do you see that a lot?
Oh,
where they're
that's
like,
very, very common.
I'm going to be top-notch client. I'm going to
be
do
the
all
good
the
client.
things that you say.
And I'm like, okay, like I really value this like younger version of yourself that created that version of you to protect you. Like we think about that as more of like a protection, like right to like remove some of the shame from why that exists. But can like we expand? And I don't know that I necessarily want to use like good and bad because I feel like that puts this binary on top of what I'm talking about. But it's just like, can we practice here what it would feel like if you disappointed me? If you weren't the good client and you didn't do the thing that we had talked about last time, can we sit with what that feels
So
like
letting
right
them
here?
try that on. Well, and also I bet because, you know, we joked about this, but it's like you're so pretty and you're so smart and you're so fun. They're like, I just want to be her best friend. Do you feel that a lot from clients?
Yeah, it's so funny. There are like some clients that I have that I'm like, oh my God, we could be such good friends. And I think that, you know, this is when it is very much like my job to like keep it about them.
Well, this is what we talked about with people perverting their power. It's like you are very aware of that, you know? And I protect my space a lot from that and any sort of like sexual innuendos or any of that, right? And it's like I don't call the table a bed.
Yeah.
I call it a table. Right? And so it's like even in those containers, so it's like when I start to think about that, that's when I get angry about these people that pervert their power because I'm so aware of what an honor it is to hold this space for people that it really gets me like really disgusted that people take advantage of that, you know? So one of the things I wanted to ask you is when was the last time you experienced, this is something I always ask guests, but is something that the last time you experienced something like magic in your day? And magic can have a different form. It could be like a sign or a synchronicity or like, when was the last time you remember like something magical happening?
Well, I actually just got to sit for somebody on Friday, and that is so I had been describing like where I was at in my life. Like I had reflected back on feeling like a part of me had to die and then another part of me had to die with, you know, becoming the mother of two children. And I was in this place of like rebirth, and this just happened to align with my nodal return. And so she's like sitting here kind of like, you know, those moments when you feel like somebody is literally just like pulling thoughts out of your head, but then like organizing them for you. And you're just like, oh, wait, I am intuitive. I can listen. I can trust myself, you know? Yeah, and being in space with people like that where they're just like, here's your power. Let me reflect this back to you. Like, again, just like this.
Magical. Yeah. That's very magical. And that you Yeah, I think it's hard when you hold space all day for people. It's really hard for us to get that from other people. And I don't know if you like struggle with that, but I certainly do. You know, it's like I establish such a level of care for people in like my personal life that almost feels unattainable for them to return. And that you being able to get something like that, like these thoughts, and then like it lined out for you, you know, that's something that you probably do all day for other people, you know? And I think that this is the heaviness that we don't talk about when you're a space holder for people, is that it does feel really lonely. I mean, do you feel like that? I don't want to like, I'm speaking that I feel very alone in it sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people who are holding space for individuals to like lean into their own vulnerability. I'm not just going to say therapists, because I think that it's like some people don't want to do that with a therapist. They want to do it with their esthetician or the person that cuts their hair, right?
The hair is a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're like secret keepers. We're professional listeners and secret keepers. And yeah, it can feel really lonely. I think that sometimes, though, that loneliness is a sign to me that I'm feeling burnt out, and like something needs to be like my being just like needs to be like witnessed, or like tended to. Like that's like a sign, like there's something.
How do you tend to it?
Well,
what are your favorite like? Because I think loneliness is something that I like feel a lot, and I've tried to like run from it. Right? It's like I'll overschedule myself, or I over socialize, and so in the last like couple months, I've really pulled back from any of that. I'm just like kind of at home. I mean, I've been going through a breakup, but it's like I go to the gym, I go to work, and I go home, right? And so like that kind of starts to feel lonely, but
yeah.
I think sometimes loneliness can be like good medicine,
Yeah.
right? Especially when you like run from it. But so how do you care for yourself when you feel like lonely or burnt out?
This is going to sound strange, but when I am feeling that isolation, what it shows me is that I need more alone time. Like my energy is going out towards other people, and loneliness is a sign that like I'm lonely for myself. And
So
I
this
have to
makes
come.
perfect sense that I'm like at home by myself now a lot. Yeah. How do you get FOMO? Like when you see other people out and you're making you don't have FOMO at all.
I mean,
you're like happy
certain
as a
things,
clam.
certain things.
Okay.
Like there are certain things, yes, but like, yeah, like anybody who has gotten close with me, like this is like the major thing that I deal with in friendships is like I can really struggle to respond back. Like text message. Like I can really struggle with that. And because I'm still learning how to give myself that alone time. I'm still learning how to like, just like regulate my nervous system in a world where we're supposed to be like connected at all times.
Yeah.
But like to be alone and to be like in my own head and like in my own daydream or in my own practice, that actually is the most magical thing. And if I could experience that daily, I would love that. But that's just not possible for me
as a mom
right
with
now.
2 kids and a wife. Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit easier for me because I'm single and I'm a single mom. But yeah, there's something that has just like felt, I think, it's like I'd work all day and then I go out to these dinners and I'm social and I'm just like, and you start to feel like you're on this hamster wheel and it's just, yeah. So you said kind of magical. You're alone. When was the last time that you experienced something magical? I mean, different people call it different things. Some are like a sign, some it's synchronicity. Like when was the last time you felt that?
Yeah. I'm like, oh my gosh, this time I think we might go in a different direction since we've done this twice. Now that we're talking about like loneliness, you know, I remember so specifically after I had Emma, my first daughter, that like the chaos that was created in my, you know, the chaos of just like learning how to be responsible for another life that literally relies on you to stay alive.
Yeah.
I remember feeling like I couldn't be in my own head. I didn't want to be in my own head, like, because it was very chaotic in there. And I had always felt like I loved to be in my own head. Like I loved to run and walk and sit without music. Like I just like love it in there.
Yeah.
I love to daydream.
Okay.
And that, you know, is something that was few and far between in early motherhood for me.
Yeah.
And so anytime I create space to daydream or to just be like quiet in my own head is
magical.
Yeah.
Yeah. When was the last time you got to do that?
Yesterday.
Yesterday. What'd you do yesterday?
I sat for a client and that was also very magical.
Watching them.
Watching them. Yeah. This was her first time to sit in medicine and with me and I always have to like pad time to go from being like
Smart.
a sitter to being like going to pick my kids up from school. And I was like resisting the urge to unload the dishwasher, resisting the urge to do the tasks in my house after she left. And I was just like, I'm just going to be with myself, which maybe this is meditation. I don't know. You could call it that. But I just like let myself kind of just like sit there and integrate what I had just witnessed and how
Do you ever write it down? Or is it all just like in your head?
You mean like notes for me or notes for the client?
Notes for you.
No, I actually have a really special way of holding those things for my clients.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I have a big like visualization that I do.
Nice.
This is actually making me think about my conversation with your daughter about Harry Potter. Do you know what the pensive is?
No.
Okay, so Dumbledore has a pensive that he keeps in his office. And I think that this is maybe in the last movie.
Okay. When it got very dark.
But he would take memories. Yeah, because I think this had to be after Dumbledore was gone.
Yeah.
He would take memories and they'd be this like silver thread and he'd put them in this font that looks very much like, you know, you walk into an Episcopal church. Oh, I did that wrong. Do they do that or is that Catholicism?
Catholics, I think.
Anyway, something like that. I actually went to an Episcopal school growing up, so I should know the answer to this question, but somehow I've put that way back there. But how you retrieve the memory is you put your face in the water and the memory that you need in that moment comes to you and you like relive it.
Wow.
And I always like felt that when I would watch that movie, or I remember reading it in the book for the first time and just being like, I know this. I know this. And so there's this very special cove, this beach that I will start my day in visually, and I turn into this, I guess I'm just like an octopus. It changes, but I am like this many-armed creature. And any client of mine, it's not just my clients, but this is like something very specific that I do for my clients. There's like an arm that unravels and dips into the water, and everything that I need to remember and retrieve is in there. And then when they leave, the arm lifts out of the water and comes back into me.
That's so beautiful.
Into this visualization. So it's I'm not holding it. This body of water is holding it for me.
So you don't have to like carry it as much. That's really cool.
It really works too.
Yeah, I love that.
I think in early years of being a therapist, I thought I had to write everything down, and I just can't. I can't, like, so what am I going to read all my notes, every time before a client comes?
It's weird. It's like I don't have as such a like profound system, but it's like my body just like remembers the things when I'm like sitting there talking with them. And I've always said this. It's like when I close the door at work and I like, start a facial, it's like, this is how I know this like isn't about me. I'm just like the vessel. It's just like I go to another place. It's like I really, most of the time my eyes are closed. And I think that's why after 13 years of doing this, I mean, it hasn't always looked like how it looks now, but I'm not ever sick of it. Like I never pull up at work and I'm like, fuck this place, right? It's like every day I'm like, dope, let's do this, right? It's like, what a blessing that is. Like, I mean, I just think about how many years I kind of like spent doing other jobs and this, it's kind of the same thing that's happening now with podcasting. It's like, this feels like such a natural extension, right? It's like talking to people and having these conversations and was really the inspiration behind the podcast, right? Is because I get to have these cool conversations with so many. I mean, I think I'm biased because I think almost everyone is interesting, right? And like I could probably talk to the plant and like figure out questions to ask.
Attuned to the plant.
Attuned to the plant. So I think when you reach a level of like attunement it's just like, everything you're saying is like, even my clients that are like HR managers, I think it's cool too, right? It's like, so, I think that is, it's like outside of us in a way. And I think that's a really beautiful ritual that you have that you like dip into the water. I'm just going to imagine you as this like octopus.
I was in Vermont and I took some medicine with family while we were up there, some psychedelic medicine. And I had this moment with my aunt where I was just like weeping, just like, I need to go to the beach. Like, I just miss the beach. Like, everything about me just like comes back into resonance. Like, everything is just like better when I'm at the beach. And she looked at me and she goes, "You are the beach." And I was just like, I am the beach.
We need to get you a t-shirt.
And actually a client when they were in medicine one time started calling me Seashell Courtney. That was like the name that
Wow, so you have like a really deep connection with this ocean. Like,
when he said that to me, I was like, I am going to go home and cry about this for a while, because it was like, thank you
for seeing that. Yeah. That's cool.
Something I just thought about too, about what you were just describing, is like, when we think of like the word magic, I think that there's a lot of people hear that word and they unconsciously assume like lots of bells and whistles around it. And like, what I really hear you saying and really resonate with is like the mundane parts of people's lives, like the things that are just like so rote and mundane, are so magical. And to like be a person that just gets to like witness people share that part of themselves, like,
it's such a gift.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I've never thought about it like that, but yeah, I mean, I think people are just so cool and interesting, and I'm forever in awe of that, and I do think it's magical, and that is, the best part about my job, like, and that it doesn't feel like a job, right?
Yeah.
And that it's, getting to work with people can be just, it's just magical. Yeah. I don't know what else to call it.
Yeah, it's like regardless of like who you are, like we all just want to be seen and felt and heard and
like,
loved.
Loved. Yeah. And that is that at the end of the day is all of it,
Yeah.
right? And that like, I think the more we can help people get into like regulated states, the more they can like offer that to others, you know? And that, yeah, it's really just like hearing each other out and like holding space and
and being able to regulate ourselves enough that when we're required to do this in our work, right? Like if somebody starts talking about something that we may not agree with, we have to regulate ourselves and really stay open to listen.
Yeah.
And I feel this often at the end of my workday, like it would be, I really believe the world would be a different place if everyone had to just spend a little bit of time learning how to listen with passion. We can all speak. Well, we can't all, but like to speak
Most
with
of
passion.
us speak with passion, but we don't listen. Yeah. And I think that that's like so well said. Okay, well, cheers to people listening passionately. I've enjoyed listening passionately to you. Thank you for coming on, and you're amazing.
I love you.
Yeah, I love you too. Thank you.